Please, I can't sleep.
It's time to listen to Courtney at last on the Ramblings of an Insomniac podcast.
Well, hello and howdy to you all. Welcome to episode 64 of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney Perry. If you hear a little nasally issue, I have some allergies going on, so I'm sorry if I sound a little weird. I always sound weird. Like I said, I hate my voice. I listen to my podcasts and I'm like, oh my God, how is anybody listening to me at all, let alone more than one time? Because if I were you guys, I would not want to listen to me more than once because my voice is just not that. There's the people like James Earl Jones and Morgan Freeman and Mike Rowe who just have those like velvety, wonderful voices that you just want to listen to all the time. There's certain people that have those voices that just draw you in and they comfort you and they make you calm or they make you just go, ah. Well, my voice is not one of them. And now that I have allergies going on, it's really not sounding cute. So I apologize. I mean, I can't really apologize because it's not my fault that I have this voice. It's what I'm born with. So it is what it is. This is my voice, people. I can't help it. I'm sorry that I don't have that, that calming, soothing voice. I don't know what you would consider my voice. I don't think it's calming. I don't know that that's a word that anyone has ever described. I don't think anyone has ever described me or my voice as calming necessarily, but hey, okay, right from the get-go, I've got people going by and making a hullabaloo, but ooh, very nice Mercedes SUV going by. That is hubba hubba. If I were a car, I'd be like, all right, nice car. Anyway, so hello. How the heck are you? My awesome everyone out there that's been listening to me. Thank you, what am I going to call you guys? My insomniacs. Thank you, my insomniacs, for listening to me. I am so appreciative, so grateful. You are all amazeballs and I love you. Thank you. Especially those of you in Canada and California that I pick on relentlessly and you still listen to me. Even though I pick on you like a big sister. What is on my mind? What's keeping me up? Many things as usual. So what can we start with? All right. So the first thing is I got to thinking about this and it was kind of funny. When you are, depending on where you're from, different pockets of the United States or different pockets of the world, we have our little, our sayings, our little catchphrases that we say. And of course, it depends on the year and what generation you're from and the little catchphrases that you say. And one of the things that cracked me up and I thought was really funny is I was, up until I was 12, I lived between Vancouver, Washington and Federal Way, Washington and Birch Bay, Washington. And so I don't know if it was just like a Washington thing or what, but we used to say this term, we would say face. And what that meant was, let's say I burned you. Let's say that I just dissed you. Let's say I just said something like, oh, snap. It's like the equivalent of, oh, snap or burn. You would go face and you would put your whole hand up, your whole palm up and be like face. And that meant like, ooh, burn. Ooh, we got you. And apparently this was just like a Washington thing because we would say that all the time. It was when we like got someone's goat, when we were teasing someone, when we were joking with them, when we knew that we like had them and we got their goat. So we would go face, and that meant like, ooh, burn, we got you. And so we would say that all the time in Vancouver, in Birch Bay, in Federal Way. It was a thing. And then I moved to Oregon at the end of my 7th grade year. So I was 12, getting ready to turn 13. And one day I was starting a new school in a really small town. And when you're from a bigger city, that, the middle school that I went to had 2,000 kids. Well, not 2,000. It had 1,800 kids. And at the time that I went there, middle school was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And there was almost 2,000 kids. There was 1,800 kids in the junior high that I went to. So I went from that, and we had state-of-the-art everything. I mean, we had absolutely top of the line everything. It was a snobby school that had all kinds of bells and whistles, and we just thought we were the coolest thing in the world. I went from that, and then I moved to Seaside. And I went to a junior high called Broadway Elementary. And it was an elementary school, not a junior high. Or no, excuse me. It was a junior high. Sorry. It was a junior high, but it was only for 7th and 8th graders, because there, 9th through 12th was high school. When I went to Vancouver, we had elementary was kindergarten through 6th grade. And then junior high was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. 7th, 8th, and 9th grade was junior high. And then you were in high school when you were a sophomore, junior, and senior. Well, then I moved to Oregon, and I was in 7th grade, and I was in junior high. And then when I went to Seaside, I was still in junior high, but it was just 7th and 8th grade. And they had 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So freshman through senior was high school. And I thought I was just way too cool for school because I was from this big old fancy junior high. We had a covered stadium. Our football field had our mascot, our Viking mascot, in the middle of the football field in pristine condition. Our football field was just immaculately maintained. We had a stadium. It was a covered stadium. And we had, in our gym, we had 4 different gyms, and we had volleyball nets that came down from the ceiling. That came down from the ceiling and came all the way down to the floor. And so I was thinking I was just, way too cool. And then I go to Broadway Elementary in Seaside. So I went from 1,800 kids to about 100. I'm not even joking you. Well, there was about maybe 150 kids. And I was like, okay, that's a humongous change. That's a huge change. Not only did I go from 1,800 kids, that was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, but I went to about roughly 175 kids, and it was only 7th and 8th grade. And I went from having state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line, the best of everything, to the most run-down. I mean, their gymnasium was leaking. The choir room was leaking. We had 1 gymnasium. We didn't have 4. Not only did we not have a covered stadium, but we definitely didn't have our mascot logo, ingrained into the football field. I mean, in fact, the football field looked like a cow pasture, to be honest. It looked like it wasn't even maintained. It looked like it had never even been used. And everybody knew everybody. Everybody had grown up there, was born there, knew everybody's cousins, aunts, uncle. So I was like, holy crap, where on earth did I move? Now, I realize Seaside is not the smallest town in the world. I know it's not the smallest. When I lived there, it had 5,000. Actually, it had almost 5,000 people. So it's not, um, you know, the smallest town in the world, but it is by no means a, happening large metropolis. And we definitely did not have state of the art anything. In fact, it was so run down that I was quite sure that at any one of our storms, it was going to cave in and we were all going to be stuck inside this old damn building that was going to cave in on us at any windstorm that we had. So I was like, what the hell? Why did I move here? And people were very rude. Nobody wanted to welcome me because, of course, I was the new kid in town. And like I said, everybody grew up there. Everybody knew everything about each other. They knew one another. And I was like the third wheel. So it was a little bit difficult kind of getting used to all of that. And I was awkward because I was at that time incredibly tall. I was already 5'8". I was very, very skinny and I was all limbs. I just looked like this walking, uncoordinated, limby. I just had all long limbs, long fingers, long arms, long everything. I was 5'8". I weighed, maybe 90 pounds soaking wet, and it was ridiculous. And I moved with all of these like people from all walks of life, surfers and country people and what we used to call stoners. The stoners were the guys that smoked cigarettes and supposedly smoked pot. And, we called them stoners back then. And people from all walks of life. And I wasn't sure where I fit in. I wasn't born there. And it was honest to God, like a weird thing that you would see out of a movie. I walked into Mrs. Opitz, our incredibly awkward language arts teacher, and she introduced me to the classroom, and I was mortified because I was in front of everybody and I got attention, and I don't want attention and I don't want people looking at me. And everybody, it was like one of those things where you walk into a room and the record scratches. It's like, it scratches and the crickets start and everyone's just staring at me. And I'm like, okay. And I sit down and everyone, I could feel all of the eyes on the back of my head. And I was like, this is so awkward. So it was kind of a rough start. Small towns definitely have their pros and cons. Small towns are great for a lot of reasons, and they're equally not so great for different reasons. And it depends on if you are a, young person or if you're an adult, because when you're an adult, living in a small town is totally a different point of view. You're getting a different point of view. You're looking at things from a different perspective. So all the things that you hated about a small town, you now like, especially if you have kids, because now you're like, great, all the things I couldn't stand when I was a kid. Now, if I have kids, I'm so glad. For example, in a small town, if you go out and you try to create mischief and you're out, doing bad things, odds are someone's going to find out. Odds are there's going to be people that know you and there's going to be people that can see what you're doing and are going to find out what you're doing and they're going to report that to your parents. And by the time you get home, you're already in trouble because your parents already know what you've done. Now, that sucks when you're young. When you're older and you have kids and your kids are the ones doing bad stuff, you're like, bonus. I love that I know what my kids are doing because I have a million parents that can report to me on what they're doing. Plus, when you're in a small town, it's great as far as community. If I say couldn't pick up my son, something came up, I would have a million other parents that would be able to pick up my sons. If I needed something, everybody's there for you. A small town is one of those things, and anybody that has grown up in a small town can identify with this. It's kind of like the big brother, little sister kind of thing. It's like you can talk smack and be pissed off at everybody in your town. You can be like, so-and-so is pissing me off. So-and-so is a piece of crap. So-and-so is annoying me. But then if somebody else who's not from your town, who doesn't live in your town, or who just moved to your town, talks crap about the same person you just talked crap about, you're like, hey, what the hell? That's my asshole. You don't get to call him an asshole. You don't get to say that he has problems. You don't get to talk smack about him because you haven't lived here long enough. You haven't, earned your stripes. So small towns, they have each other's back. They pick on each other. We're relentless to each other. We're in each other's business. We know everything that's going on. But we also are there for each other. We also don't allow other people to pick on us. We also rally together when something bad happens. Oh my God, you guys, there's a deer walking up the road, checking me out, and she stopped and sussed me out for a bit. And then, oh, baby girl. Uh-oh, I got to look away. She's noticing me. And then she started walking and walking, and then she stopped, and then she wagged her tail a bit. Now she's looking at me again. Oh, anyway. So small towns are good and bad, and they have their pros and cons. And I actually wouldn't trade it for the world because I ended up meeting my most favorite people in the world. And I ended up meeting some extraordinary people. I ended up having a lot of good experiences, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's actually pretty great. But then when you get older and you have children in that same small town, it's great and it's not, because you just learn also that people can be pretty petty and people can be pretty backstabbing. And then those same exact people can turn around and give you the shirt off their back. It's such a bizarre dynamic. But I was talking about this with somebody and how they had moved from Oregon to Kauai. And obviously, Kauai is part of the United States. Hawaii is part of the United States, and it's not a different country. But they run things a lot differently because they're an island and they're kind of removed. And so they are very, they have a whole different culture going on there. And she was telling me that they don't mind necessarily when people move to Hawaii. It's just that they have very much this deep, deep respect for the land and for the elderly and for the neighbor. They have such a deep-rooted sense of community, and they do expect you to learn Pidgin, which is, I guess, is the language that they speak there is Pidgin. They expect you to be kind and respectful to the elders. And people don't lock their doors. People don't really lock up stuff because they just expect you to be respectful. And their motto is kind of like, it takes a village to raise, your children. It takes a village. And people are very much for or against that. It seems like people are like, don't tell me how to raise my kid. Don't tell me what to do. And then other people are like, hey, I like having a community to help me out. I don't think that when the saying, it takes a village, I don't think that it means that anyone's taking away from you being a parent and not being able to discipline or raise your child. I think it just means that, look, we're all in this together. We all live in this little town together. So we need to have each other's back. We need to be able to help each other when someone is hurting, help each other when someone else is having a hard time. Because if we can't help each other and we can't get each other's back, what's going to happen? Like, we're in such a small community that we kind of have to rally together. Because if crap ever hits the fan, you're going to have to, you're all in this together. And so cities, gigantic cities like New York, like Chicago, even like Portland to me is a big city. I don't feel like you get that sense of community. You have boroughs, you have neighborhoods that are probably very community orientated because you live in a neighborhood and that neighborhood maybe rallies together. But I feel like it's different. I feel like that's different than an entire city that is small enough to where you know everybody and you've been through a lot together and you feel like you've kind of been through the trenches together. And I just started thinking about that and how, when you're younger and you have friends that you've known since you were a child, and you have friends that you meet in elementary school and friends that you meet when you're in junior high and high school and college and as an adult, and the different relationships you have with each of those people. And I have people that I've known literally since the day I was born. I have people that I have known since I was in elementary school. I have people that I've known since junior high. And my relationship with each of them is very deep and very amazing. And I would do anything for my friends. And so it's funny because we were just talking about the things we would say and the things that we would do and the stuff that you get away with when you're in junior high, and how living in a bigger city may change that. And I remember this one specific incident where my friend and I decided, I do not know why, because if my kids did this, I would kill them. But my friend and I got this genius idea one day that we did not feel like walking to the store. Now, this is when I lived in a little teeny tiny town named Gerhardt. Gerhardt had at the time 1,000 people. 1,000. That's it. And it's a very small town. You can walk anywhere. There was one teeny tiny little market. And my friend and I decided that we didn't feel like walking to the market to get our snacks. No. We were entirely too exhausted after our day at school. So we decided we wanted to not ride our bikes, not walk. We wanted to drive. Now, the problem with this is my friend was 15 at the time. I was also 15 at the time. She had her permit. I did not have my permit. Now, keep in mind, with a learner's permit, you are supposed to have someone that is 21 years or older in the car with you while you're driving. So you're supposed to have an adult with you while you're driving. You're not supposed to be in the car by yourself. My parents had just got a brand new Pontiac Grand Prix. I don't know if any of you remember or know what a Pontiac Grand Prix is, but my parents had just got one. And they were out somewhere, don't remember where at the time, but they were not home, and they were not going to be home until very, very late that evening. And this was early afternoon, and we decided that we were tired and we didn't feel like walking. And my friend got this genius idea that what if we took my mom's car to the store? Now, it was probably 6 blocks. It wasn't far. It wasn't far at all, because in Gerhardt, you can't really go far. It wasn't far. We could have very easily walked it. It was a nice day. It was not raining. It was not windy. Nothing made it to where we could not walk. But we decided, my parents left the keys to this Pontiac Grand Prix, and we were going to drive it. And so for some reason, we decided that was a fantastic idea. And my friend April just assured me that she knew how to drive. She was a great driver. She had had her learner's permit for like a month now, and she'd been driving, so it's all cool. And I was like, okay, cool. So thinking this was a fabulous idea, we grabbed the keys, and Pontiac Grand Prix have a pretty darn long front end to them. You know, they're built like a boat. They're very aerodynamic, boat-like. And we decide to take off, and off we go. And we're going along, and everything's going great. And we get to the store, we get our goodies, and we're like, yes, this is perfect. Look at us go. No one is the wiser. Great. And we start heading back. Now, keep in mind, I was well aware that one of my other friends, their mom, Allison, her mom was going to come and pick me up because I was supposed to go stay the night at her house. So my friend April and I were at my house, and we wanted to get snacks, went to the store. She drove my mom's car to the store, and then also drove it back, because I figured, hey, she has the learner's permit and she's been driving for a whole week. I mean, a whole week. So she knows what she's doing. She's got this. It's cool. So we're driving back, and we're headed home, and we get quite literally 1 block away from my house. 1 block. And the friend that I'm supposed to stay the night with that same day whose mom is supposed to be picking me up. I'm driving. I mean, she's driving, and we're approaching the turnoff to go down my road to get to my house. And my friend Allison's mom is also driving that way, but coming in the opposite direction. And as we're both getting ready to turn down my street, she looks at us and sees us. And I don't know why I did this. No idea why. But both April and I, keep in mind, April's driving. She's driving the car and I'm the passenger. We both decide that we're going to duck because, that's smart to do when you're driving a car. It's okay if you're the passenger, but not so great if you're the one driving. You probably shouldn't be ducking. You need to be able to see the road, right? But she kind of like squats down a little bit and tries to hide. Well, at that point, we've already been seen, and now we're making even more obvious because now she sees us even more. And she just shakes her head like, oh my God, you guys, and shakes her head and rolls her eyes and points like, get to the driveway, get to your house. And we're like, oh shit, we're busted. Oh my God, we're going to jail. Holy shit, this is bad. We're going to jail. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So we pull up and we go home, and I get to my house, and April and I park, and she gets behind us and gets out of the car. And we're just at that point staying in the car because we're like, oh my God, maybe if we don't get out of the car, we don't have to face any of this. But of course, that's not what happened. We had to get out of the car and we had to face the music. And to Donna's defense, she handled everything quite well, and to this day has never told my parents. I ended up telling my parents way, way, way later in life when I was like 40 years old. I waited till I was like 40. She didn't tell my parents. However, that doesn't mean we got away scot-free. That doesn't mean, to those of you out there who might be going, oh my God, she totally should have told because that's so bad. We could have killed somebody. We could have hurt somebody. We could have hurt ourselves, could have hurt other people. All those things are true. Very true. I am not condoning what we did. What we did was very, very wrong. And if my kids would have done it or anybody would have done it, I would have been like, what the fuck were you thinking? But her line of thought was, okay, we didn't kill anybody. We didn't hurt ourselves. We didn't hurt anybody. We made a stupid, stupid, stupid mistake. But so she laid into us. She let us know how dumb we were. She let us know all the things that could have happened. She let us know that it was not okay. She let us know that she is forever going to keep this in the back of her head. And if we get out of line, she is going to tell on us. So she kind of used that to be like, look, I'm going to keep this over your head. And if you screw up, I'm going to tell you. And she's like, are you going to do this again? We're like, no, oh my God. And I'm bawling and I'm snotting and I'm crying so much. I'm just snotting and bawling. And I got to tell you, to her defense, she never said a word. And I did end up telling my parents later on. They were like, why are you even telling us this? Because what the hell? So I guess my point is, it's kind of funny because when you're in a small town and you get to know people, it, I think, determines sort of how you're raised. And it does take a village. And you kind of have a lot of moms and a lot of dads and a lot of aunts and uncles and a lot of siblings, and we all may bicker and we all may be pissed off at each other, but we're also not going to allow other people to prey on our crew. And so if you move here from someone else and we give you the side eye, it's not because we're being assholes. It's because we're like, hey, we got to make sure you're good. You haven't been around. What have you done to prove that you're a good person? How do we know that we can trust you? So you have to earn your stripes. And I 100% believe that you should have to earn your stripes. When you move to somewhere, and like I said, I was talking to my friend that moved to Kauai, they very much are like, hey, you're a tourist. You are not a local. A local takes a long time. You have to live here for a long time. You're not born and raised here. And living here for, 1 to 5 years does not make you a local. So you have to kind of earn your stripes. And big cities, I've lived in big cities, and there's just not that community. You don't have that community. Not in the same way. You have it in different ways. Like I said, different neighborhoods, different boroughs kind of have that, but it's not the same. And when you get older and you have kids, you love that if your kids do something, you're going to find out about it before they even get home because you have a million pairs of eyes watching out for you. You have a million people babysitting your kids. And I love that. Some people like it, some people don't, but it's kind of great. And then I moved, I've been in the valley for a long time, and the place I'm at right now has 11,000 people. And um and it's kind of the same way. Of course it's different for me because I'm an adult and I do not have kids that are in school. And so it's a whole different perspective. And it's bigger, it's double the size of Seaside. So it's different. But people, either like or don't like small towns. People like big cities or they don't. And everything has something different to offer. So I always try to say it's all about perspective. Again, I always look at things like a photographer from point of view, different angles, different perspectives. Small town, big city, both have things to offer. Both have pros and cons. Every place, everything has pros and cons. Every religion, every gender, everything has pros and cons, right? And that's the beauty about being a human. That's the beauty about living in different countries. Every country has pros and cons. Every state has pros and cons. Every human, every religion, every gender, every race has pros and cons. And what a great way to learn. You're always learning, because if we're all the same, you're not going to learn crap, right? So I was thinking about that a lot. I've just been thinking about small towns, about the people that I've known, and how long I've known them. And there's people, like I said, that I've known since the day I was born. There's people I've known since elementary school, since junior high. And my relationship with each of those people are amazing in different ways. And when you have kids in a small town, how you look at that town is different. So if you're living in a small town, what are the things that you like and dislike? If you're living in a big city, what are the things you like and dislike? What country are you in? And do you like that country? What are the pros and cons? I just love that everything has its checks and balances, Everything has the good side and the bad side. And I try to constantly keep myself aware of the pros and cons, the benefits. Again, looking at things from different perspectives, different points of view. So I encourage everybody to step outside and try to look at things from a different point of view. Try to talk to somebody that maybe you haven't talked to before. Try to, if you're going to move, take that step, move. Know that there's going to be things you have to learn. Know there's going to be an adjustment period. But sometimes, the biggest leaps are the best, So I hope that everybody out there that's kind of in a funk, maybe they have an opportunity that's coming up. Maybe they have an opportunity that they never thought about before, and they've kind of been on the fence about it. They're not really sure what to do. Weigh out those pros and cons, weigh out the benefits. And maybe you just might find a really amazing opportunity around the corner. Who knows? So this is a very short podcast. I'm going to do another one tomorrow. But I just kind of wanted to say it just got me nostalgic because, it's, it's been 31 years. Holy cow, you guys, it's been 31 years. 31, man, 31 years since I've graduated high school. And every time June comes around and I see all the graduations for high school and the graduations for college, and I just look back and it just makes me just have this nostalgia and this warm, fuzzy feeling of all the memories, all the things that I've done that were stupid, all the things that I've done that could have got me killed, but also all the decisions that I made that were amazing. The decisions that I've made that I was scared shitless to do, but I did them and they turned out to be one of the best things ever. Sometimes the things that you're scared to death to do end up being the best decisions ever. Not always. Sometimes they just end up being shitty decisions and you shouldn't do them. But that's just part of being a human, right? We make shitty decisions, we make good decisions, and unfortunately, there's no manual on being a human. So we can only do what we can do, right? But I've just been thinking of all these graduations and seeing all these graduations, and I just look back and I'm like, God, I can't believe it's been so long. Like it's just weird. I have a son that's been out of school, for 10 years. And I'm like, holy crap. And I've been out of school for 31 years. And I'm like, oh my God. And the stuff that's changed between when both of my sons have graduated and when I've graduated, I like to think there's so much that's changed, but really nothing has. We're all just a bunch of crazy kids that when we're young, our brains are not developed enough to make necessarily the best decisions. So we do some stupid shit. And every generation and every parent looks at the generation below us and just shakes their head and they're like, why? But you have to remember when we were that age, we were doing this stupid stuff and it was our parents that were like, why? So we may think we have things figured out and we may think we're doing things correct. And there's always someone above us. There's always someone older than us that are smacking their heads going, what are you thinking? So to all you rebels out there, hey, that's amazing. And to also all of you that follow the rules, that's great too, because we need both. We need the rebels and we need the rule breakers. We need a balance of everything, right? That's why there's checks and balances. We need the good, the bad. We need the crazy. We need the calm. We need the shy. We need the not so shy. We need the ones that want to go out and adventure and learn new things and do new things. And we also need the people that are reserved and quiet and want to stay home, right? That's how we all learn. That's what makes us go around is the pros and cons, the negatives, the positives, and, our differences. So to all of you out there, whether you're a rebel or you follow the rules, whether you are shy or loud, power to all of you because we need every single one of you out there to make this world run the way that it does. So shout out to all my rebels. Shout out to all my introverts. Shout out to all of my nerds. Shout out to all of my jocks. A shout out to just everybody out there that is doing the best they can and learning as they go. I really am wishing to all the graduates out there, whether it's graduating kindergarten and going into first grade, going into their first year of elementary. That's amazing. Good for you. Whether it's those of you that are in elementary and graduating to junior high. Woohoo! Junior high is the best. I loved it. And to those of you that are graduating from junior high into high school. Gulp. I know it seems big. I know it seems scary, but you're going to have the best time of your life. It's going to be so fun. I assure you. And then those of you that are graduating from high school and going into college. Gulp. Welcome to adulthood, right? But still have fun and learn, be responsible, but also a little irresponsible. Don't be so irresponsible that you're killing yourself, but take it all in. Take it all in. And to those of you that are graduating college, you've done it. You did it. I would like to say you're done learning. I would like to say that, hey, you've arrived, but you're finishing one chapter and you're opening up this whole other amazing world. We're just always learning. We're always evolving. We're never going to be finished learning. We're just opening new chapters. We're learning new things, and we are opening up a whole new world every time we open our eyes and take that step forward. Every time we make a decision to get up and face the day. Good for you. Good for you for making the decision to wake up, take the step forward, and face the day, no matter how hard it is, no matter what you've got going on. Good for you. So to everybody out there graduating, whether it's graduating from sobriety, graduating into, being from a mom and a parent to a grandparent, good for you. Good for all of you graduates. Happy graduation to all of you. I'm wishing you all the best. I'm wishing you all, just like I said, learning from each other and appreciating life and experiencing it to its fullest. So this is a short episode. I appreciate you guys listening. Shout out to everybody. What? Thank you so much to listening to episode 64 of the Ramblings of an Insomniac.